Good evening, and welcome to another session of Lessons from My Mother. We are on lesson number 15. And as you see, I have a different setup now. I have lights, I have a background, I have a better microphone, and now with these lessons, I'll be presenting them standing up because I can move much better. Today we're on lesson 15, and I think I have over 70 left to go. So this will happen over the course of the next year. Um, so far, you've seen that my mother has always talked about cleanliness, order, organization, protection, caution, all of these things, uh, which which help a person not only succeed in life but also mitigate failures. Um, One of the things that she still says and used to say, which never really resonated with us until we got older, is to straighten out creases. Now, I'm wearing this shirt. Yep. This shirt is slightly creased from some places. It's not as ironed as it would have been, let's say, a week ago. Um, it doesn't bother me. So we would always say, why do I have to iron out the creases? Why do I have to run my hand over uh, a piece of cloth? So, for example, if you've made your bed, obviously, um, and go and sit on the bed. When you get up, she said, just run your hand on the bed, just straighten out the creases. And we said, why? It doesn't matter. Same goes for sofas. If you're sitting on a sofa, you're watching TV, you get up, and she says, just rub your hand, just like that, straighten it out. And it would never make sense to us. We're like, why do we do that? I'm just going to go sit back there. 2 hours later, 5 minutes later, why do I have to clean it up every single time? And it took a long, long time to start grasping what she meant by it. So let me put forth this. There's a rug in your house, and it's completely flat, it's right in all the places. And then while walking, a part of it gets raised up. Like there's a bump. There's a bump in the rug. What do? Do you leave it as it is, or do you go straighten it out? Now, some of you might say, well, if the bump is impeding your walk or you could trip over it, I would fix it. Fair enough. But there are sometimes many bumps that don't trip you. They're just there. They're just right in the middle or a bit to the side, and they're there. It's just an air pocket. Why would you go and straighten it out? Most people, not the overly clean, organized type like me and my mum, most people would go and fix the carpet. They were like, I'll just fix that. If something is a bit out of order, they'd just go and like straighten it out. Why would you do that? Think about it. Think about why you would go clean it up. Let's say you have an umbrella. You open an umbrella, all the, shall I say, arms open up properly. One arm is a bit wonky, one arm is a bit weak. Do you fix it, or do you like, okay, at least 8 of them are working, the ninth one isn't? What do you do? So what I've noticed that most people try to fix it. Not even the pedantically inclined one, or not even the overly finicky ones. Most people try to fix it. They're like, oh, because this is a thing about order. This is a thing about how things should be, how things are meant to be. So a rug is meant to be flat, with parallel to the floor, attached, flush on the sides. That's what a rug is meant to be. A cushion on a sofa or a bed sheet on a bed is meant to be plain. That's what that's its purpose. It serves its greatest purpose, doing just that. When you wear clothes, let's say you have a gala to attend, or a fundraiser or campaign. Um, do you get your suit dry cleaned or your dress ironed, or do you just take it out of the wardrobe, just dust it a few times and just put it on? If it is something important to you, you'd probably get it dry cleaned or ironed. Why? Why is that? It's not just cleanliness. You can wash it in the laundry. Why'd you get it ironed and cleaned? Because you know that the suit or the dress is meant to be crinkle free. It's meant to be without creases. It's designed to be just that. So we iron our clothes. That's the exact reason why, when you're getting up, you should run your hand and just smoothen out or straighten out the creases. The same reason with the rug. Let's say you have a wall like this. Now, this is a gypsum wall. Okay. Let's say there's a bit of moisture in your house and some water accumulates behind the paint. And what it does, many of you would have seen this, that if water accumulates behind the paint starts, uh, swelling starts happening. Swelling starts happening, and there's water and there's moisture behind it. And you're told to pop it open, take some sandpaper, uh, clean it out, use coal to heat the wall, get rid of the moisture, and just fix it. You're told all these things. Would you do it, or would you just leave it as it is? If it is in your reach, sometimes it's on the ceiling, so you can't reach it. But if it's in your reach, would you go straighten it out, or would you say, "Oh, there's some water there, I can ignore it"? This is an important lesson of how far you would go to put things in order, and an order that you believe is the correct order. So, for example, my dining table is to the corner of my apartment. I like it here because I get a lot of light. I sit and work here, I sit and eat here. It's very practical. Somebody else might come and put it smack dab in the middle of the living room because that's how they organize their space. So I'm not saying there's a universal order, because there is in many things. But what I'm saying is we all have a sense of order, um, and we can decide it and impose it. So this cleanliness or this running your hand is an example of just that. But then I started thinking, this principle runs true even in nature. How many trees do you burn? Or how many trees do you ride a bicycle on? Or how many trees do you cut down just for fun? Um, how much of farmland or grasslands do you burn? You don't. So you know that the function of trees is something, like it does these 20 different things. My life is fine without interacting with those functions. And if I'm going to interact with the tree, this is how to interact with it. I'm not going to ride a bike on the tree. I'm not going to go climbing on a tree. I'm going to climb, what, rope climbing. I'm going to climb on a mountainside or a boulder or a cliff. So inherently, or through conditioning, we have a sense of what particular purposes are of things. We have a sense. We've built it or agreed to it, and we tend to abide by it somewhat. And some people very much like me, some people very little, or they resist the order for whatever reason. If you're walking on the pavement or a sidewalk, as they say in the US, if you're walking on the pavement and you see some stones or some pebbles on the way, it's possible that your instinct, if you're in a hurry particularly, your instinct would be just avoid and go around. But if you're gently strolling, your instinct would be to remove the pebbles from your way, just from the side. Or if there's some leaves, or if there's a lot of leaves which is blocking your path, because the purpose of the pavement is to allow you to walk. And if that purpose is not being achieved optimally, then there's an instinct inside you which would come out and try to fix it. And I think it is an instinct because we can see it not only in humans. So I don't know how much of it is learned behavior. Animals also clean their surroundings. Animals also build things. Animals, nests or dams, animals do it all the time. Animals also clean their area. So I wouldn't say it's 100% social conditioning. I think there's an instinctive understanding of purpose and meaning of things and human beings. Um, so this, it used to trouble us all the time because you say as soon as you stand up, just caress the surface so there are no creases left and leave. The purpose of the couch, of the cushion, is to be crinkle free, is to be pleasant, aesthetically pleasant, and materially attractive, and what's the word? Geometrically comfortable or formally comfortable. That's the purpose of the couch. The purpose of the couch is not to allow you to jump up or down, and the purpose of the couch is not so you can sleep there every day. Some occasions people do. But the purpose of the couch is to provide you comfort and be aesthetically pleasing. This crinkle free couch is an example of something that is aesthetically pleasing. Take that further. There are some people who wash their cars twice a year. Those people need to learn the importance of cleanliness, because washing your car twice a year is not enough. But then again, I know people who had four cars, and they would have, because they'd have house help, they had that amount of money. The house help would wash all four cars every day, and once a week wax them and clean them all the time. Now they could afford to do that, so they did, and wasted quite a bit of water, if I may say. But I used to say to them, I said, "Look, you only drive one of these cars. The other three come out at rare occasions. And why do you wash them every day?" And he said, "Because that's a standard I have to hold, and because the car. Look at the car. There were BMWs and Mercedes. They were good, fantastic cars." And he said, "The car deserves to be clean. The car is made to be clean." So now, if you have a dirt bike, you don't have to wash it because it's literally made for the dirt. A sparkling, clean dirt bike wouldn't make sense. But if you have a nice, let's say, Mercedes Maybach, or if you have a Bentley or a Rolls Royce, these are cars that I really enjoy. If you have one of those and you haven't cleaned them, the car isn't fulfilling its purpose. Now, the car can't clean itself. Its level of animation and consciousness isn't there. Now, why do I say consciousness? Because I'm not putting the argument that I'm not putting the argument that I can prove that everything is sentient. I can't prove it. But I can't also prove that everything isn't sentient. So for lack of evidence, and just for the purpose of this discourse, we might be open to the idea that everything is alive, and I can make the argument that everything is composed of tiny subatomic particles which are constantly in motion. Nothing is static. Everything is in motion. Like this hand, if we zoom in enough, we will see tiny particles holding it together with all the strong, weak electromagnetic gravitation. All the forces are holding me in shape and holding the entire ecosystem and solar system universe in place. They're moving. They're attached. They have pulses going through them. They have many other qualities. One could make the argument that they are alive, but just at a different wavelength or at a different scale of life, because one could draw a lot of parallels between these particles and planets and human beings and say, well, you have these common qualities. It's only at the human level we are aware of our consciousness, but at the super level and at the sub level, maybe there is a different scale and scope of consciousness. I'm not putting forward the spiritual scientific argument. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's possible that this could be the case. If it were, each subatomic particle is a living thing, and that living thing is playing a role in how everything is constructed. So the sofa is composed of particles, and the sofa hence is sentient. And the sofa wants to be a certain way, as does the car, as does the rug, as does the suit. Things are designed to be a certain way, and I understand that with Michel Foucault and Jacques Lacan, Derrida, Gilles Deleuze, all these people, the post-structuralists, we've started questioning everything. Like, is it really supposed to be like that? Is it? I'm a modernist. I hold values that have existed beyond post-structuralism or before post-structuralism. I'm an objectivist with the Ayn Rand school of thought, and I quite admire Nietzsche and Freud, and so I don't subscribe to this line of inquiry with everything that exists or has existed or will ever exist. I don't agree with that convoluted approach to existence, because then you question everything and you amount to nothing. So, so we can, based on my foundational arguments, I would say that maybe everything has a purpose, and there are very few ways of achieving that purpose optimally. And for the sofa to be the best sofa it can be, it needs to be crinkle free, it needs to be polished, it needs to be clean, and it needs to be comfortable. That's what a sofa needs to be. Same for a rug. It needs to have no creases, no lumps. It has to be properly placed. It has to provide warmth against the cold. That's what a rug should do. Your suit has to fit you properly. It shouldn't have any creases, and it should be color coordinated, and it should fit with your complexion and your shirt and all those things. Things have a purpose, and there is, when you have a purpose, then you can derive a hierarchy, or sorry, I'm talking like Jordan Peterson. There's a hierarchy of purposes, and in that hierarchy there's definitely a few optimal. In that line of thought, the human being also has optimal purpose. The human being who wastes their day and indulges in drugs, porn, masturbation, um, smoking or drinking, not looking after their health, not looking after their food, not looking after their personal relationships, not looking after their finances or responsibilities, excuse me. That is not the optimal life. One can always make the argument that I'm an artist, I'm a this, I'm a that, but scientifically, we can make a much stronger argument that the better human being is the one whose mental, physical, spiritual health is at an elevated level, who has strong interpersonal skills, strong social relationships, who is amounting wealth, money, skills, and power and influence in the world, who's putting effort and receiving something in return. That human being has greater purpose. So when I started asking my mom about this, oh, somebody said something. What's going on? You lost weight, looking good. Oh, Hamad Siddiqui. Thank you, sir. I have lost weight. I will tell everyone what weight I have lost. Thank you, Hamad Siddiqui. Love you. Can't wait to see you, hopefully in Toronto very soon. I have lost weight. I have been running 6 days a week, every morning. I started at 15 minutes a day. Now I run 35 minutes. And hopefully by New Year's, I'll be running an hour a week, every morning. Only on Tuesdays I don't run because I have to be at work early. Otherwise, I've been running early. So thank you. I have lost weight. Thank you, Hamad Siddiqui, for noticing. Hope to see you soon. So yeah, the point is this. The deeper you dive into this crinkle-free, clean up, do this, do that, you start realizing that it's all about understanding the purpose of things. Now, if you have a fork, you can use it to comb your hair. Do you? No. You could use a plastic fork. It would be very similar to your comb, but you don't. You could use, the detergent which you wash dishes with. You could use that to wash your hands too. It's a bit dangerous, but you could use it. It's almost like soap. Do you? I have friends who do, and I tell them, dude, you're crazy. What are you doing? So these things matter. Purpose, meaning, optimal function, they all matter. And this all came out from this small idea that my mom said. And the more I meditated, the more I realized, yeah, mom, you're right. You're absolutely right. This makes sense. But no, I've been speaking for almost 20 minutes. So thank you so much for joining me. Monday videos are going to be with this format now. I have two lights, and I have a background, and I have a camera, and I have a mic, and I have everything. Well, things are getting better. So thank you so much for joining me. See you next week. Take care.